But here's the question. No one knows what the story is about, so why are people so terrified? I'm Kim, and this is Hun Channel.
Do you know there's a Japanese story so unsettling that no one dares to speak of it? A story said to haunt those who hear it. Tonight, we'll uncover the legend of Ushi no Kubi, the cow's head, the tale that should never be told aloud. By the end of this story, you'll understand why silence itself has become its greatest warning. The story no one can forget. They say there exists a story so terrifying that once you hear or read it, fear itself will descend upon you, quietly, inevitably, and you will never escape its shadow. That story is called Ushi no Kubi, the cow's head. It is said that simply knowing or attempting to read its contents invites strange phenomena, and even death. What unsettles people most is that throughout history, no one has ever truly known what the story actually contains. Yes, you heard that right. The only things humanity knows are its name, and the fact that it is the most terrifying story in the world. Why would a tale with no known content become the very symbol of ultimate horror? Why does it still drift through the modern age like a ghost, refusing to die, even in an era of limitless information? Tonight, we follow its shadow, from origins and rumors to symbols, psychology, and its modern evolution, to uncover the fading terror known as the cow's head. Chapter 1: Origins and Early Rumors. The legend of Ushi no Kubi traces back to Japan's pre-modern folk traditions. Historically, various regions in Japan practiced rituals involving the heads or blood of cattle. In times of drought, villagers would cast a cow's skull or its blood into rivers and wells, praying for rain and the cleansing of calamity. The cow's head symbolized immense power, a means to appease divine wrath, a token in the eternal exchange between humanity and nature. Over time, these rituals were demonized by folklore. The cow's head became entwined with curses and taboos. Later, during the Meiji or Taisho periods, it was said that a short novel titled Ushi no Kubi was circulated in Japan, so horrifying that anyone who read it either died or went mad. According to rumor, the government ordered all copies destroyed to prevent social chaos, declaring it a banned book. Yet, there is no evidence, no records of its existence, of madness, or of death. And perhaps that very absence of proof became its strongest fuel. Between truth and fabrication, the legend's ambiguity gave it power. People began to believe in a strange paradox. Even if it does not exist, it might still happen. Chapter 2: The versions that spread. Among the countless versions that emerged, one became infamous: the tour bus incident. It was said that during a school trip, a teacher suggested that everyone tell ghost stories to pass the time. When it came to his turn, he smiled and said, "Then I'll tell you a truly terrifying story. Ushi no Kubi." The moment those three words left his lips, the students screamed and begged him not to continue. But he insisted. Then, suddenly, the bus screeched to a halt. The driver stared blankly ahead, drenched in sweat. Some students fainted. Others began to scream or laugh uncontrollably. After that day, the teacher never smiled again. He sank into silence, consumed by depression. Every retelling shares the same core features. The content of Ushi no Kubi is never revealed. Anyone who hears, reads, or even mentions it suffers misfortune, most often madness. Both the storyteller and the listener become bound by a forbidden chain. In other words, This is more than a story. It is forbidden knowledge itself. Here, fear becomes the protagonist. The unsaid, the unseen, these are far more terrifying than any explicit horror. Chapter 3: Symbolism and Cultural Meaning. Why a cow's head? Why, among all possible forms, is this unseen horror named the cow's head? In Japanese culture, the cow holds deep and paradoxical symbolism. It represents strength, but also sacrifice, calamity, and ritual. In ancient rain ceremonies, the killing of a cow was believed to move the gods to pity. Its blood and flesh served as the offering. The severed head became the bridge between mortal prayers and divine will. Through such beliefs, life offered for peace. The cow's head took on both sacred and dreadful power. Moreover, Japanese folklore abounds with human-bovine hybrids. The kuden, a prophetic creature with a human face and a cow's body, and Gozu Tenno, a deity of plague, vengeance, and divine punishment. Cattle in Japanese myth are often tied to prophecy, retribution, and disaster. Thus, the name Ushi no Kubi may not describe a literal object, but a symbol, a warning of what happens when humans trespass beyond the boundary of the forbidden. When one dares to look into the abyss may look back in the shape of a cow's head. Chapter 4: Why it must remain unknown. In the world of ghost stories, there exists a rare category, the story that cannot be told. You can say, I know a terrifying story, but you must never speak of its content. Ushi no Kubi is the purest example of this kind. It is said that anyone who hears the story will die within 3 days. Yet, in reality, no victim has ever been confirmed. No one has ever written down a complete version, and that, perhaps, is what makes it so powerful. The terror does not lie in the story itself, but in our imagination of it. The human brain fills in blanks with its darkest fears. Psychology calls this imagined terror, the kind that grows stronger than anything real. When content is forbidden or erased, all that remains is an arm and an ending, and fear reaches its purest form. Thus, Ushi no Kubi is not horrifying because of what it tells, but because you will forever want to know what you are not allowed to know. Chapter 5: From Taboo to Pop Culture. In modern times, Ushi no Kubi has seeped into popular culture. Famous authors like Sakio Komatsu and Yasutaka Tsutsui have mentioned the legend in essays and fiction, never revealing the tale, only its shadow. Publishers have released anthologies titled The Cow's Head, invoking the phrase as shorthand for ultimate terror. And in recent years, the film Ushi Kubimura, The Cow's Head Village, revived the myth, merging it with rural taboos and superstition. In the digital age, the legend has only grown. Tens of thousands have typed Ushi no Kubi story content into search engines, yet none have found the truth. It has become a living phenomenon, fear itself, digitized, searched, and shared. Every query, every video, every whisper keeps this formless story alive. The cow's head continues to exist, not in any book, but in the act of seeking it. Epilogue: The fear of wanting to know. Ushi no Kubi is more than a legend. It is a mirror. It reflects our own hunger and dread. When facing the unknown, we fear the darkness, yet cannot resist peering into it. That is the true power of the cow's head. It needs no plot, no words, no description, and still, it terrifies us. If someone told you they knew the full story, would you dare to listen? Perhaps the wisest choice is silence. Because the real horror is not in what you hear, but in that fleeting instant before you do, when you begin to wonder whether you have already been chosen.
I'm Kim. Please subscribe, like, and share. And stay with me. You will never face the dark unknown.